Why did the Roman Empire fall? The fall of the Western Roman Empire wasn't a sudden, single catastrophe. It was a slow, agonizing unraveling that took place over roughly 3 centuries. While historians still debate the primary catalyst, the consensus is that Rome didn't just fall to outside invaders, it crumbled from within due to a perfect storm of political instability, economic collapse, and military decay. Here is the full story of how history's most formidable superpower dissolved. 1. The crisis of the 3rd century, the beginning of the end. To understand the collapse in 476 CE, you have to go back to the year 35 CE. For 50 years, the empire was rocked by civil wars, plague, and economic chaos. The barracks emperors. Rome had over 25 different emperors in just 5 decades. Most were military generals who seized power by assassinating the previous ruler, only to be murdered themselves months later. The Great Divide. In 285 CE, Emperor Diocletian realized the empire was simply too massive for one person to govern and defend. He split it into 2 halves, the Western Roman Empire capital, eventually shifting to Milan and Ravenna, and the Eastern Roman Empire capital in Constantinople. While this temporary fix saved Rome from immediate collapse, it doomed the West. The eastern half was wealthy, highly populated, and control centered around lucrative trade routes. The western half was overexpanded, constantly under siege, and broke. To the inward rot, internal factors. The internal vulnerability of the Western Empire made it impossible to withstand external pressures, economic strangulation, and inflation. Rome's economy was fundamentally reliant on expansion. Conquering new lands brought in fresh gold, silver, and millions of slaves to work the land. When the expansion stopped, the money supply dried up. Debasing the currency to pay its massive bills, the government began mixing cheap metals like copper into their silver coins. The Roman denarius became practically worthless, causing hyperinflation. Tax oppression. As the currency failed, the state demanded taxes in the form of physical goods, crops, and labor, crippling the middle class and driving peasant farmers into feudal serfdom under wealthy landlords. Military Germanization. For centuries, the Roman legions were a disciplined, fiercely loyal force of Roman citizens. By the 4th century, Roman citizens no longer wanted to serve. To fill the ranks, Rome began hiring Germanic tribesmen, the very people they had been fighting for centuries. These mercenary forces, called foederati, were loyal to their individual tribal generals and to whoever paid them the most gold, not to the concept of Rome itself. 3. The outward pressure. The barbarian invasions. The final blow came from outside the borders, driven by a domino effect originating deep in Asia. In the late 4th century, the Huns, a brutal, nomadic warrior culture from the Eurasian steppe, swept westward.